and welcome, family, to Dr. Mumbi's Spiritual Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways, that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. Thanks to every single person that has subscribed to the channel. We appreciate, love you so much. And everyone that comments and shares. I know that, YouTube has kind of changed up the vibe where subscribers aren't the thing anymore. It's more like they want to push certain themes and ideas. Please watch my show on, I can't remember what the title is, but it's on how the game has changed on social media, and they're really trying to reprogram us. This is like the modern day reprogramming. But those are stories we've already discussed. And special shout out to our Patreon family. Without you, our focus would go elsewhere. So we're very grateful to you for your support, that we can fully focus on, giving the awakening news to our people. And this is a message basically for chosen ones. The ones who chose themselves to come here and be a part of this new dispensation. The ones who were also invited by Mama Earth to come and be part of the dispensation. And what I've been feeling is that as we walk through the door into the new reality, we need to now develop our own codes of conduct or commandments. Not really commandments like that, but we have to recognize, like family, we're back now into the spiritual time, into spiritual law, into spiritual order, which means that things that they tried to, that they never taught us about, like karma, the universal basic laws, cause and effect, reciprocity. There's so many. I was even just thinking of all the different universal laws. They are now the laws that we're under. Before we were under common law, which was basically like the world was just making it up as it went along, and it all depended on if you had the best attorney, if you had a witch or wizard also helping you with the case. I mean, for real, family. But now we're in a new dispensation where the spiritual laws are back. I mean, they were there before, but it's like, I keep talking about this group consciousness. And whatever the group consciousness subscribes to as true becomes the dominant reality. And so many of us would be affected by universal laws, but we didn't know it was the universal laws affecting us. Like the law of karma, you see, because as a melanated people, we have never left the spiritual time, the spiritual world, the spiritual reality. And so it was very easy for Babylon to come and mash us up, because all he had to do was contaminate us. All he had to do was get us into a cycle where we're constantly, sinning against ourselves, as they would like to say, where we're just constantly committing karmic, creating karmic debt for ourselves. We're constantly just acting like willy-nilly, like there's no consequences for the choices we're making. There were so many things. One of the biggest and most damaging has been the sexual revolution, family, because we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And many were, started playing around with that spiritual. They got us all to just play around with our spiritual energy, give them our spiritual energy, and that has created a lot of distortion. Because that's the real spiritual communion. And when you have that spiritual communion with people who are not of a spiritual vibration, with people who, there's many things are not of your community and things like that, it does create distortion within you. That's a whole other story for a whole other day, family. So as we move deeper into this new earth, we have to be even more sensitive and more aware of this new dispensation, and kind of have a code of conduct. Let me know, what would you put in your code of conduct, or in your, in the rules you'd follow? Because family, the thing is, the way Babylon describes freedom is totally false. You can't do bad things and get away with it. You can't live unconsciously and live a good life. World is vibration, it's energy, it's truth. You can't tell a lie and think it won't lead to other lies and take you down the path of lies and into the reality of lies. Because there's things like law of attraction, which I interpret as you attract who you are. Circumstances, people, experiences, all of that. So some of the things that I've been thinking, I would want if I had a community or, of like if we were just hanging out in our community, I think it's important, or if how I will conduct myself in the world out there, is we need to realize now we're operating on a new energy, a new vibration, family. And so we must act accordingly. A lot of us are fully activated now, which means you can't share certain information. DNA, blood, all these things. You can't share certain things because you're activated now. You just have to have that sensitivity. And if you know, you already know. It's funny because we were talking with some soul sisters and they were telling me how a lot of these high-level healers, the elders deep in the middle of nowhere, we've got some really powerful ones here in Kenya. They have refused to see anyone who has taken any kind of double Big Mac. Any kind of, they've refused. They're like, that's the first thing, and they're really adamant about it. Notice how the generator just came on? I don't know if you can hear it in the background, it's pretty loud, but what kind of code of conduct would you have, family? What would you include in it? I'm going to take a short break and wait for the generator to be turned off. We'll be right back. Unity communities. Wake up, Africa. Welcome back, family. They just turned the generator off. It's like a couple of minutes later, maybe 10 minutes later or 15 minutes later. But I hope you got the message of what I was saying. That's all I'll say. The main thing we need to recognize, however, is that we're working with a lot of energy now. We're working with a new energy that is more potent, that is more powerful. And so we have to use this energy extremely responsibly. We have to use our words very carefully. We even have to use our thoughts very carefully. And before I even talk about others, let's talk about ourselves. You see, before we were programmed to have self-defeating thoughts, like loops of self-defeating thoughts, where we were constantly putting ourselves down, making ourselves feel negative, berating ourselves. We were mean to ourselves and lovely to the world. It can't work like that, family. But we were constantly on these negative loops of I can't, I shouldn't, I won't, it will never happen for me. I'm like this, I'm like that, I'm like this, I'm like that. And it was usually because of the programming of the outside world. Even if we grew up in loving homes, the schools we went to messed us up because there was all that division, the rich kids, the poor kids, the fat kids, the thin kids, and it's even worse now. I think was it in China or in some Asian country, they had to ban the word fat. I don't know if it's cool or wherever, or nationally or something like that, because so many people were now obese, and it was like, it had become like a swear word anyway. It was so insulting now. But we were taught to create negative loops in our minds about who we are, about what we are, about what our capabilities are, what our destiny is, what we are meant to be doing. Even limitations of you can only do this by this time, women can only have children before 40, this and that, All these limitations, family, that literally in a twinkle of an eye have gone. I don't know, there's just all kinds of, anyway. There was a spider that just, all kind of limitations have gone, family. We are in a new dispensation. And so one of the things is, before we weren't full throttle, before we weren't fully activated. And so our negative thought patterns about ourselves, they made us weak, they made us tired. They even started to make many sick and have made many sick. Just constantly telling yourself how bad you are will eventually create a situation. Constantly telling yourself how bad your family is or whatever. I mean, it's something I think we've needed to process in a season, but I really feel all those narratives are done, family. And I'm really trying not to think about all of that anymore. I've made my peace with my past. But even that, family, I found that we're in a new dispensation where before you could have indulged in thoughts about how painful your past was and how this happened to you and how that happened to you. And as one subscriber put it, we kept time traveling into past events, into our pain. And it would be like we'd be reliving it all over again. And that's how now you're using your power against you. Because if you try and do that in this dispensation, family, it can take you out. And it will take you out sooner. Any negative self-talk, you must arrest it the minute you hear it. And that's something even I'm struggling with. There's gifts and capabilities that I talked about because I'm of the Joseph tribe, if you want to put it like that. You're the ones who talk of their dreams and then everyone's looking at you strange, like, you're going to be who? Let's sell you off to. Anyway. So there's so many of us who may have tried to share our dreams when we were children and they were shut down. And so we keep shutting that dream down. But now it's that time for whatever you desire, your greatest longings to manifest, the ones that are in your highest good and best interest. So with this new energy that we have, it is so important that we manage it. It takes so much responsibility. You can't think carelessly anymore, family. You need to be so disciplined with how you're thinking about yourself because it's like we're moving. And you're in a flow, and those thoughts can affect your flow and even create stagnation and even pull you back. So nothing but love. Even when you feel like you misstep, nothing but love. Get it out of that idea of making mistakes. Not like you excuse yourself. I told you karma is real and karma is now back in full effect. But don't beat yourself down mentally, family. So many of us were taught to do that. You miss something a little bit and you're just there with a whip, just whipping yourself. No. Those things now. That whip is now a sword. You'll be cutting yourself, family. So, as I said in a previous show, practice self-love. Be very responsible in the thoughts and the idea. Remember, we have like 60,000 thoughts a day or something like that. That's what Babylon said. Maybe some of us chosen ones have way more than that. But imagine having 60 or 100,000 negative thoughts about yourself, or where the majority of them are negative thoughts about yourself. And thought is energy, and you're in a new dispensation now. You will wear yourself thin. You won't make it. And also, family, now it's time to even recognize that the world you see represents who you are. And so even when you want to give someone advice, do it with love. A lot of you, your psychic gifts have now been opened. You can see certain things you're dreaming about, especially those around you, things that may happen to them. Communicate those messages with love and do not share messages of doom, gloom, death if you are not giving that person a solution. Don't tell someone, wow, I saw you in whatever situation. I don't want to put it there, out there. I saw you in a terrible situation, and then leave them hanging, because then you've like hooked them back into the negativity. Say, I saw you in a terrible situation, but I feel if we could just come together and maybe fast for a few days, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., or do like group prayer or a group meditation, you can avoid that timeline and, resolve that, whatever, that you'll be shifted out of that timeline. If you don't have that solution, then don't share. Pray for that person, as I always say. And remember, pray is an A and it can be an E as well. You can either be praying for someone or you can be like praying for someone. I know all these gestures. I don't know where they're coming from, but anyway. So we need a code of conduct, family. Don't kill people's dreams. You can't really be in that negative frame anymore. You must learn now to use that negativity to protect you, to shut negativity, to shut negativity down. It has its purposes to destroy those things that shouldn't be in your life, like destructive energy and all that stuff. I won't call it negative energy, but that other energy, it's a destroyer energy, but you should destroy it to remove negativity, to remove obstacles, to remove strongholds, to remove, haziness and everything. But don't use that destroyer energy to destroy others, because now you're super powerful. If you've awakened, you're activated, and you're in this new earth. You see, before you'd launch a dart, and because we were in such density, it would go like slowly, that slow motion vibe. But now you launch a dart and it's like, zzz. And then if you're hitting someone who's also like awakened and they block that back and then they send that back with 10, it's like, it's like we've leveled up in the video game world. We're in a place where now even the video game creators kind of vibe. But be really careful with your energy. And that's where, like, I didn't want to say code of conduct because it sounds so like the previous dispensation, but just be cognizant of how will I carry myself now. You see, family, I used to be a people pleaser, and a lot of people who grew up in like terribly toxic environments as children, be it in their homes, in their schools, whatever, we were almost groomed to like always yield our power. Or sometimes they didn't need to do much with the grooming because of the love we had. Some have yielded power to parents, some have yielded power to their better halves or their spouses. And now that power has come back. That now because you wouldn't be here if that power had not come back. And so as a people pleaser, you need to get out of that, because that's the only thing that will pull you in a low energy. And you'll realize when you're in your people pleasing stage, then you start to develop resentful thoughts against those that you're trying to people please to. So that's one of the things I've had to learn, is to say no. Like when it's no, it's no. When I can, I can. When I can't, I can't. And that's it. I'm not going to try and put myself in a distorted energetic situation because of my people-pleasing nature. But now I've had to take responsibility for that and be like, that's not about anybody trying to manipulate me, trying to take advantage of me, trying to use me, use and abuse. That's me. Offering sometimes my time when I don't have, offering time that I don't have. And then being resentful the whole time because I was supposed to be using that time to meditate or, rest, whatever, for my own self. Because there's people pleasing. We gave our energy away to the point where we didn't even have energy for ourselves. And that's not going to, the Most High and your spiritual team is not going to allow you to do that anymore. And remember, your spiritual team is expanding. Now I even have Simba and Dovu in my spiritual team. I'm somehow connected to the elephant family, and I'm somehow connected to the Leo, the lion family. Anyway, that's a whole other story for a whole other day. But your spiritual team is not going to allow you to do that, and you will pay for that. And the payment you make is, it will take you out energetically, either for a day, a few days. It may even bring you to dis-ease. It will definitely, because that's what happens when you're knocked out of balance. Because those kind of things now, you can't people please. And so it's learning to say no. But it's also learning, like, when you overcommit, it's learning to be honest, honest enough to be like, sorry family, I overcommitted. If they're close enough, you can explain like how you're trying to deal with your people pleasing ways. I'm just using people pleasing as one way. There's many other ways that we were groomed to act or behave. Some we were always taught to act almost in anger, to almost like our temperatures raise every time something is not balanced. Some were encouraged or saw a family that was always in a rage. You can't be in a rage. I remember my grandmother telling me once, like, you're a prophet. You cannot afford to get angry at anyone. You must humble yourself and just, when you feel that anger bubbling up, hold it. Because you can speak badly to someone and then something happens in that person's environment because of the energy you've sent to them. And that will have repercussions on your life. With the new powers and energies and capabilities and, just spiritual leveled upness that we are now honored to be carrying, coming into this family, coming into our real cosmic star, who we really are, it comes with incredible responsibility. Incredible responsibility. And don't forget, things are speeding up. So whereas karma used to take long, so maybe by the time it was trying to come back to you, it was slower, things have really sped up now. And so you can quickly spiral into bad thinking. You can quickly spiral into, an argument can quickly spiral into something super negative, where it breaks a friendship or a partnership, and you guys are actually supposed to be doing some stuff together for Mama Earth. So take responsibility for your energy. And family, actually I was even thinking, let me know what kind of code of conduct would you have for chosen ones or for awakened ones, in terms of how we interact with the others and stuff like that. Put it in the comments below, and then I'll definitely share it in a future episode, because I really feel this is very important. Because it's not about guilt and shame and fear anymore, and having those as anchors to good behavior. But it's just like, with this greatness comes great responsibility, and you don't want to be cast out of heaven because you acted out. You acted a certain way and it created imbalance and dis-ease and took you out. Because things are really happening quickly, so you have to be responsible for your energy. Anyway, I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Until next time, family. Tuko pamoja. Looking for a conscious community, or for people, who are on their awakening journey, on their transition to an off-grid living in your country, well, we have the solution, family. We're calling it Unity Communities. We get so many emails every week from people who ask if I know of people in their region or people in their city or people in their town who are on a similar kind of journey, who have broken away or are breaking away from the religious psychosis, and they're looking for just people who think the same way in their town, in their city. But more importantly, to give us a community where we feel understood, understood, overstood, where we can bond with people of like mind. And if you feel called to be part of this, definitely email me at drmumbi at drmumbishow.com. Please put your country in the subject line with Unity Communities. Get in touch with me, drmumbi at drmumbishow.com. Unity Communities.